All right, everybody. Thank you for coming to the USS KIDD Veterans Museum today. My name is Greg Williams. I'm the operations manager, and it is my privilege today to introduce to you Colonel David Couvillon, who will be speaking to us about his new book. A little bit about David before I bring him up here. He is a colonel in the United States Marine Corps. He is retired. He is a Louisiana native and a former CEO of the Louisiana Office of State Group Benefits. He began his service in the U.S. Marine Corps in 1974, rising rapidly through the enlisted ranks before earning a commission in 1984. Over a 40-year military career, Colonel Couvillon held key leadership positions in the Marine Corps Reserve, including command of Weapons Company and later 3rd Battalion, 2nd Marines, 323. He deployed in Iraq in 2003 during Operation Enduring Freedom, serving as both battalion commander and military provincial governor of Wasset Province. He retired in 2014 after serving as military advisor to the 1st Naval Construction Division Seabees. Colonel Couvillon is a decorated veteran whose awards include a Bronze Star Medal, Combat Action Ribbon, Meritorious Service Medal. He holds a BS in Management and Administration from LSU and is a graduate of multiple Marine Corps. This is Colonel David Couvillon.
Hey, so look, I do thank y'all for coming in, and real short introduction. The reason I wrote the book was I thought that what we accomplished or what our battalion did in Iraq was radically different than what the people in the United States were told about what was going on in Iraq. And everybody thinks that Iraq was this huge fiasco. And yes, there were things that were not great about that, but on the other hand, there were a lot of great things that did happen and occurred, and that was wonderful for the people of Iraq, and people in the United States should actually know about that. So that's the purpose of the book. The other purpose of the book is I really wanted a legacy for my grandchildren, to be able to have something to know what their dad, their grandfather did, and also my children, so they understood what we were doing and what I went through and what my Marines went through. I was very proud of my Marines, and if you read my book, when you read my book, you'll note that I do say the word I in there a lot. But when I say I'm really meaning my battalion, the Marines of my battalion who were instrumental in all the accomplishments that we did. It wasn't just me making decisions. I had people taking care of it and putting them in positions. And these were, in many cases, very young Marines, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, who had not been to war before, not had that type of experience, though we were very well trained. But I put them to work doing things that they were not trained for. As a matter of fact, one of the big things, we were a reserve battalion, and my reservists were Marines from Louisiana, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, Arkansas, Little Rock, Memphis, Tennessee, and Montgomery, Alabama. And many of these guys already had jobs, they had families, they were in school, they were studying, they were engineers, they were policemen, they were carpenters, they were plumbers, they were electricians, they were students who were studying for higher degrees in there. And when I got to Iraq, my battalion is an infantry battalion. We train to fight the wars, like you see in the movies. That's what we do, to train to fight, attack the beach, take the town, whatever. But when I got to Iraq, and I had a very well-trained battalion in the art of war and combat. When I got to Iraq, I got off the plane, and we were sent there to reinforce a large Marine task force. And when I got off the plane to report to the general walked up, went to meet him, and he says, "Colonel Couvillon, I'm glad you're here." And I knew something was wrong right away because he pronounced my name right the first time. And when he said Couvillon, I was going, well, so what's going on? He says, "I'm glad you're here. You're the governor." And I went, "Sir, excuse me?" He says, "You're the governor." I said, "Okay, sir, what does that mean?" He says, "Anything that happens here, you're responsible for it." And I said, "Okay, sir, what does that mean?" He goes, "Anything that happens in this province, you're responsible for it." I said, "Yes, sir, I understand that. But you have to understand, in the Marine Corps, when you get orders, you normally get written orders that tell you what they want you to do, who they want you to do it with, and what the outcome is." All I got was, anything that happens in this province, you're responsible for. And literally, that's what I was left with. The province was about the size of Connecticut, had 1.5 million people in it. about 200 kilometers of the border with Iran. And of course, we were having infiltrations coming back. We were still having Republican Guard and Army units that were fighting in the province. The people had no electricity, no gasoline were being distributed, no food was being distributed. And I was left with, how do we take care of this? And so I put my Marines together and trying to put together rebuilding the government, rebuilding life for the people in Wasset province. And initially they were very skeptical about what we were doing. It took me a while to gain their trust. But once we did, we started making great strides and started providing them an opportunity to experience the freedoms that we as Americans have. And I think we did a lot of good with that. I explained a lot of it in the book. You'll learn a lot of history in the book because the Iraqis know their history much better than most Americans know our history. It was a wonderful experience for me to put the book together. My co-writer, Miriam Davis, she was a wonderful interviewer. She found a number of other people. I gave her a number of other Marines that we interviewed to bring on board and to add to the story. And I think it's good. It's a short read. It won't take you but a couple of days to read it, but it is a good story, and will show you that the United States has its best interests at heart. And then when they are in a war or they are saving people from tyrants, we do try to do the best that we can to bring them a spirit of freedom and that we experience here in the United States. So again, thank you for coming. I appreciate y'all, and I hope you enjoy the book. Yes, sir.
Can you answer questions?
Yeah, I'll take questions.
Okay, so did the battalion flag get a battle streamer?
Yes, the battalion flag gets a battle streamer for the Iraqi Freedom Campaign. Absolutely. And a presidential unit citation as well. So that's good.
For
Yes, ma'am.
those of us that aren't in the military, can you explain the size of the battalion? And
A battalion has approximately, my battalion was probably 98% full, and we had about 990 Marines and sailors. I was also reinforced with a small civil affairs unit, maybe another 40, 50 people, and then a 200-man Army MP unit that was attached to me as well. So all in all, I had like 1,400 men and women under my command at that point for them. When I took over from Task Force Tower had 6,000 people in it, control of our province, and I turned over to, and it took me 1,200 people to take control of the province. It was a bit of a shuffling to go around. Yeah.
Did the Air Force play a role?
Oh, the Air Force did play a role, and very much so in providing fire support as well as observation and all. I will tell you another little thing that happened. Most of us had little walkie-talkies on our person, and many of the Iraqis thought that if we talked to those things, we could call in airstrikes just from those little walkie-talkies, and we bluffed them a lot. We were calling in strikes, and I really love the A-10 too. That sucker does a job for us.
do you stay in touch with anybody that you work with over there?
Matter of fact, the Iraqis, I stay in touch. The internet is wonderful. Facebook is wonderful. I stay in touch with a number of the Iraqis. They call me for advice or message me for advice. My interpreters, I stay in touch with them. They talk to me. And then some of the other people that I made friends with quite often. So yeah, and that's a good feeling. Thank y'all for coming. I really appreciate it.
For those of you watching at home on YouTube, there will be a link in the description about where you can pick up his book online. Thank you.